If you're watching this video and you've spent any time at a university or college lately, there's a good chance you have been exploring the merits of communism. Communism is a political and economic doctrine that aims to replace private property and profit-based economy with public ownership and the communal control of the means of production. Communism divides people into classes, the bourgeoisie being those who have more than enough, and the proletariat being those who have little to nothing. Communism is sold on the idea that the haves deserve to be stripped of their resources by the have-nots. Jesus mentions in Matthew 19 to the rich young ruler that he should sell all his possessions and then come follow him. In Matthew 25, he lists charitable deeds that if you as the believer were to do them for a person in need, that it would be as if you are doing them for Christ himself. This and other stories of Christ have led people to mischaracterize him as being someone that would have supported the uprisings of communism in the 19th century. Now, it is no exaggeration at all to mention that there has never been an ideology more destructive towards human life in the history of humanity than communism. Both Stalin and Mao, two communist revolutionaries who managed to implement communism in their respective nations of Russia and China, are responsible for the most amount of death we have ever seen in the history of humanity in one movement, all in the name of making things more fair for their civilians. Even Karl Marx himself said that in order for a system of socialism to be implemented, every social infrastructure that previously existed must be overthrown with violent force. Now, while Jesus' teachings indicate that we certainly are to be helpful to those who are in need, even if it costs us, he never at any point advocated that we needed to overthrow our government in order to make things more fair. Now, when questioned by the Pharisees on paying taxes to Caesar, he gets them to hold a coin and asks them whose face is on the coin. Caesar's, they say. And he says to them, what is Caesar's, give to Caesar, and what is God's, give to God. And what a lot of people who read scripture don't realize is that the concept that the Jews at the time had of who the Messiah was going to be was that the Messiah was going to be a military commander who was going to overthrow the Roman government and reinstall a Davidic Israelite kingdom once again, just like the Maccabees had done before Jesus' time. Complete and total political change was not something Christ was interested in at the time, although I'm certainly not against Christian influence being in government. So when we hear people saying that the ideals of communism are more Christ-like than the ideals of capitalism, there leaves to be a bit that's unanswered. Unlike communism, where the only way you could possibly become wealthy is to either be born into the political ruling class or to become close enough friends with someone that is in the political ruling class. Think Chinese social credit score. Capitalism has created a system in which more than ever in history, your average person does have some ability to climb some kind of ladder and gain some level of wealth. Although capitalism is certainly not perfect, the fact remains we as a species have never came up with a better system for ruling a country than capitalism. Since the implementation of capitalism, particularly in the West, we have lifted more people out of poverty than have ever been lifted out of poverty since before capitalism was implemented. So would Jesus have been a communist or a capitalist? He would have just been Jesus. Jesus was great at shattering people's expectations of what he should be like. Like Jesus' ministry itself, Christianity's influence on the world, particularly on the West, has been one to change the hearts and minds and spirit of people to begin with. And then those values be the values that end up changing society for the better. For instance, Christianity is responsible for setting up the modern university system in the West, the modern hospital system, the abolition of slavery, and our modern justice system. But let me know what you guys think. And although I hate asking, please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. It always seems to happen more when I ask. And have yourself a great day.